kissing is not natural. No other primate does it the way humans do. Chimpanzees touch lips occasionally. Bonobos press mouths together in conflict resolution. But the deep, prolonged romantic kiss, the kind that makes your heart race and your brain go quiet, that is uniquely human. And it only exists in about 46% of cultures ever studied. Which means kissing isn't instinct. It isn't hardwired. It was invented. Somewhere, at some point in human history, two people pressed their lips together for the first time and started something that half the world still does today. Nobody knows exactly when, but scientists now know exactly why. Let's start with what we actually know. In 2023, researchers at the University of Copenhagen reanalyzed ancient Mesopotamian clay tablets and found something nobody expected. The earliest written description of a romantic kiss dates to at least 4,000 years ago. Not a passing mention, a detailed description. Two people, lips meeting. Desire recorded in wedge-shaped marks pressed into wet clay by a scribe who had no idea their words would survive 4.5 millennia. Before that discovery, the accepted date for the earliest documented kiss was 3,500 years ago, a love poem from ancient India describing exactly the same thing. Which means romantic kissing has been documented across two completely separate ancient civilizations on opposite sides of the world, within roughly the same 1,000-year window. That is not a coincidence. That is a behavior already ancient by the time anyone thought to write it down. But here is the problem with all of this. Written records only go back around 5,000 years. Modern humans have existed for 300,000, which means there are 295,000 years of kissing, or not kissing, that left no written record whatsoever. To understand where the kiss actually came from, you have to go somewhere older than language. You have to go to the mouth itself. Your lips are extraordinary. They are the most exposed area of nerve-dense skin on the entire human body, more densely packed with sensory neurons than your fingertips. When two sets of lips make contact, your brain receives a flood of sensory information, temperature, texture, taste, smell, all processed simultaneously. And that processing triggers an immediate chemical response: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. The same cocktail released by other forms of deep social bonding. Which means your brain doesn't experience a kiss as a romantic gesture. It experiences it as information. Critical, survival-relevant, ancient information. But what kind of information? In 2015, evolutionary psychologist Rafael Wlodarski at the University of Oxford published a study that reframed everything scientists thought they knew about kissing. He surveyed over 900 people across multiple cultures and found one consistent pattern that nobody had predicted. For both men and women, kissing was used primarily as an assessment tool. Not as an expression of love, not as foreplay, as a test, a biological screening mechanism. Your lips, tongue, and saliva contain chemical signals, pheromones, immune system markers, hormonal information that your brain reads without your conscious awareness. A kiss tells you things about another person's genetic compatibility, their health status, their stress hormone levels, that no amount of conversation ever could. Your brain knows within seconds whether this person's biology complements yours. And it communicates that verdict not through thought, but through feeling. The kiss felt right. Or it didn't. And that feeling is not romantic intuition. It is 300,000 years of evolution making a very rapid, very accurate biological assessment. This explains something that has puzzled researchers for decades. Why do so many relationships end after the first kiss? Not after weeks of incompatibility, not after months of growing apart. After one kiss. Studies consistently show that a significant percentage of people, around 59% of men and 66% of women, have ended a promising romantic connection specifically because the first kiss felt wrong. Not the person, not the situation, the kiss. Which means your lips are running a compatibility test that your conscious mind never approved and cannot override. You meet someone, Everything seems right. And then the kiss happens, and something you cannot name or explain says no. That something is ancient. That something has been keeping the human species alive and genetically healthy for hundreds of thousands of years. But the biological screening theory only explains part of the story. Because kissing does something else entirely, something that has nothing to do with genetic compatibility and everything to do with the most fundamental human need of all: connection. In 2012, anthropologist Helen Fisher at Rutgers University published research showing that kissing activates three distinct brain systems simultaneously: the sex drive system, the romantic love system, and the deep attachment system. Not one, not two, all three at once. No other single human behavior triggers all three simultaneously. Which means a kiss isn't just a kiss. It is the most neurologically complex social behavior in the human repertoire. A single act that binds desire, love, and long-term attachment into one moment. And Fisher argued that this complexity wasn't accidental. It was the point. In a species that needed both parents present to raise children through the extraordinarily long human childhood, the longest of any primate, the kiss may have evolved specifically to accelerate and deepen pair bonding. To take two people who were attracted to each other and rapidly, chemically, neurologically, fuse them into something more durable than attraction alone. Now, where did it actually start? The most widely supported theory among evolutionary biologists traces the romantic kiss back to a behavior called pre-mastication. For the overwhelming majority of human history, there were no blenders, no baby food, no soft-cooked infant meals. When a mother needed to feed a baby solid food, she chewed it herself first, breaking it down, softening it, mixing it with digestive enzymes, and then transferred it mouth to mouth to the infant. This behavior is documented across dozens of species. It is still practiced in some traditional cultures today. And the mouth-to-mouth contact it required, the intimacy of it, the trust of it, the chemical exchange it created, may have laid the neurological groundwork for what eventually became the kiss. The same neural pathways, the same mouth-to-mouth contact, the same chemical information transfer, repurposed by evolution from feeding into bonding, from survival into love. So let's reconstruct what this actually looked like. It's 100,000 years ago. A group of humans sits in the late afternoon. A mother feeds her infant the way every mother before her has, mouth to mouth, food transferred, lips briefly meeting the child's. A chemical bond deepens. Oxytocin floods both their systems. Later that evening, a man and a woman sit close to the fire. They have been together for months. He reaches toward her face, not to feed her, not to transfer anything, just to be close to her mouth, the way closeness to mouths means safety and bonding to every circuit in his ancient brain. Their lips meet. Neither of them knows why it feels the way it feels. Neither of them has a word for what just happened. But every neuron in both their brains recognizes it. This is connection. This is trust. This is us. It has been happening ever since. And here is what makes all of this strange to sit with. You live in a world where kissing is everywhere. Movies, songs, street corners, wedding ceremonies. It feels like the most natural thing in the world. But 54% of human cultures never developed it, never needed it, found other ways to bond, to assess, to connect. Which means the kiss you've given and received your entire life, the one that felt like it needed no explanation, is actually a specific cultural and biological accident. One particular solution to the universal human problem of how to get close enough to another person to know if they are safe to love. Your lips learned that answer long before you did. And every time you've kissed someone and felt it, really felt it, you weren't being romantic, you were being human. Doing something your ancestors figured out in the dark, long before anyone had a word for it, long before anyone thought to write it down in clay.